the YouTube special edition of the Tell Us the Truth podcast. And my goodness, do we have a great guest to kick this off. Imagine this, a guy who travels around the world, eats fine food with models. And oh, by the way, he's made a fortune off of cryptocurrency. Did I mention he's a black man under 30 years old? This isn't the plot of a new TV show. This is the life story of one Samuel Johnson, and he's going to share it with us this week. My name is E. Duke Bennett, and this is Tell Us the Truth.
My name is Samuel Johnson, and I am a young, black, successful entrepreneur, and I'm here to tell you the truth. Before I ended up traveling, I was very scared to travel alone as a young black male. For a multitude of reasons, right? Unfortunately, a lot of black people, or even America, has this stigma that it may be unsafe for you to travel, or you might not be liked because you're black or you're African American, But I'm here to tell you that you guys have it all wrong. Me even going to Dubai was actually pretty inexpensive. It was under $2,000, and I decided to take that decision to go on to Dubai, which, in all honesty, was an incredibly safe place to be. What I mean by that is there were times where I dropped my wallet, and a very nice citizen or tourist, whoever it were, gave me my wallet. About 5 hours later, they were looking for me, and they just so happened to kind of run past me. They saw my ID, and they just so happened to be nice enough to give it to me. There were other times where I was able to walk 3, 2, or even 4 o'clock in the morning, and the most interactions I even got from anyone wasn't even a dirty look. It was a "Hi, how are you?" or a smile.
What do you think that's all about, though? The concern, the fear for black folk in particular in terms of travel. Why do you think that fear and concern exists? And again, your experience, it seems like it's been different. Huh?
To be honest with you, I think, man, telling the truth, it can be very hard. I think white America, right? I believe they kind of brainwash not just black people or people of color in America, but even white people. They kind of brainwash us to believe America is the safest, best bet for black people. And we're kind of just grown up to believe there's no place like home. America is the best place to be. And I'm telling you right now, when I went to Dubai, it made me realize there are a lot of places in the world that even succeed America, in terms of quality of life, in terms of even how people are relatively treated in other countries. I was amazed to even talk to Africans, not African Americans, but Africans that were living and thriving in Dubai. I was just surprised to hear their answers of what they really thought of black Americans there as well. Even Arabic or the Emirati people, just their thoughts, and just in all honesty as well, I ended up talking to a lot of them too, of their thoughts of Americans, and even specifically black Americans. And the truth is, they absolutely love us. In fact, they encourage us to travel, not just to Dubai, but even African countries. They really want us to venture out and really see, what these new countries have to offer.
So in terms of COVID, let me, I want to stay on this point here.
Right.
Was it difficult to get into Dubai because of the pandemic, or what have you? What kind of hoops, if any, did you have to jump through?
The only hoops that I really had to jump through was, actually, there were no hoops. All they wanted was to make sure that I wasn't bringing COVID over. So 2 days before I left to Dubai, I had to get a COVID test done. And 2 days of me leaving from Dubai, I had to get a COVID test done. And honestly, that was really it. And I mean, in Dubai, everywhere it's open. However, you do have to wear a mask, which I would hope that you guys are doing so, now.
Go back to your trip because you just got back when?
Ooh, 2 days ago?
Okay, so you're fresh, man. You literally still smell like vacation. You're super fresh here.
Oh,
So
yes,
take me
absolutely.
back. Take me back to the middle of your trip and describe to me a day, any day. What was it like? What did you see? What did it smell like? What did it taste like? Just take me there with you.
Man, I gotta say, so before I even get to that with Dubai, for me living in Jacksonville, Florida, I smell just dirtiness, a little bit of depression here and there, and the smell of unemployment just ripens the air of what Jacksonville and possibly every other city smells like. Being in Dubai, it's still a little unemployment, but the city just smells just wonderful. Like you're in Agrabah from Aladdin. That's a horrible representation. I just like that movie a lot. But I digress. I would say that Dubai, even the mall, the city, the atmosphere just smells amazing. Like sure, it's on a in a sandy like area. It's not like Florida where there's grass and greenery everywhere. It's sand everywhere, but it's just beautiful. It like the infrastructure, the buildings, it smells what you would call that intellectually bougie. And what I mean by that is um you get the automatic sense that not only are you in another country, but they kind of put themselves on a higher pedestal than even Americans do, but they have the addition of having the courtesy to be nice to others. There's not relatively any rude people there. Everyone's just kind of decent and happy for the most part, anyway.
That is wild. That is now. Did you get any sense that there was any kind of crime or any aspect of your time over there that felt more unsafe than other aspects?
Crime, absolutely not. Racism, yes. But not racism to the point where people were calling each other names. So there is completely different. What I mean by that is here in America, when it comes to Asian culture, it seems like there's like this weird a lot of Asians kind of bring a lot of other cultures in America to, like them and all it's very different in America. In Dubai, it's actually. Oh, and one other thing, like so in America, the working class is it's the age range and race of everyone. Everybody, specifically, like you'll see a black person or an Asian person, whoever working in a Burger King here. There, it's 90% Asian. They somewhat have a saying. It's very rare, and it's only when you're talking to like higher upscale Arabs there. But they would say, "Where's the help?" or "Where is your maid?" And they're specifically Asians, more times than not Filipinos. But the racism there, or it seems like the 90% working class you'll see are Asians working everywhere. They're the ones that are helping you get your food, ordering your food, sometimes even pumping your gas, helping you out throughout the mall. They're the ones that are mainly working. There's not really an age range discriminant with Asians there, but that's really what it is. Them and specific and white people that live in Dubai too, specifically Russians, if I can remember.
That's really interesting. So you said that there is some racism there.
Yeah.
How bad does it get?
It's not bad to where you'll hear an outburst or anything like that, or it's more of it's like it's very subtle. Like you won't hear anyone calling anyone names or anything, but you can tell that it's extremely hard for especially the Filipinos that I have talked to and people that I am friends with, that it's very hard for them to move up away from, the working, the low poverty working class, like working, like getting out of working McDonald's or working, from Hardee's. That's that whole, it's kind of like here where, oh, and another thing too, that, okay, so back to your question. I'm sorry, I have ADHD, so I might, bump from subject to subject. I'm so sorry about that. Now, one thing I will say though, I did see where, someone that wasn't even working in an area, they were snapped at. It was an Asian female. An Arabic or an Arab person snapped at them to pick up trash, and they kind of looked at them like, I don't, work here or anything like that. They got the dirty look, and they just kind of walked away. But they did, like, they had like the outfit, whereas they looked like they were supposed to work, in that area.
The dynamics of racism are different and projected against different people. So, I mean, as black folk, especially in America, we're so used to being the quote unquote minority that is on the receiving end of systemic oppression and racism, what have you. You were over there in Dubai and you got to see it yielded against folks like Filipinos.
Yeah. Yeah, Filipinos, not just Filipinos either. I've seen a few other Asians, like Vietnamese women, and even one that I was like really talking to, and I spent a decent amount of time with. She, phew, she was from Malaysia, I believe, and she said it can get pretty crazy, but it hasn't. But her pretty crazy is a little bit different than, like, here you might hear, you know maybe, I mean, the way that I've seen racism in my lifetime is probably completely different than, someone that might be 10, 20 years older than. So my experience could be a lot different. I was probably called the N word maybe once or twice, but, over there, they don't really get called a name specifically. They're just, it's like they're kind of programmed, like, hey, you need to pick that up, or hey, where's your help, like, it's completely different.
That is wild. Now, did you go anywhere else? Because I mean, I know that you like to travel, and I'm fascinated by this because since the pandemic, I've hunkered down, man. I make sure I'm not going too many places and what have you there. So to hear somebody talk about literally traveling the world, it's just fascinating to hear, especially in this day and age. Did you go anywhere else during any of your trips over the past 6 months?
Not yet, but I will tell you. So Dubai was actually my first traveling experience, and I absolutely love it. And I will tell you this right now. I do plan to travel a fuck ton. I plan, if I can next year, if the Lord may see it and allow it, I plan to go everywhere. Every single fucking where. Everywhere. Um, I honestly plan to go back to Dubai in February. I absolutely love Dubai and everything, but I do want to kind of see everything as well. I have another week off where I'll be able to travel again. Um, I'm looking at possibly Europe, wherever it's open, but I'm absolutely going to travel again. It was just so much fun. I hate to say it, but when I got back into Jacksonville, I was like, man, I hate it here. This place, like, people think, black people or all of this other shit's ghetto. Nah, man. Being stuck, like, in a specific area in America is ghetto. Working for a job that you don't like, that's fucking ghetto. So I'm definitely trying to leave out and go everywhere I can. By myself even. I was honestly scared the first time I traveled by myself, but like, this whole experience makes me want to travel again. Of course, to safer places around the world, but most definitely. Um, it's just, and the thing with Dubai too. I'm sorry to circle around back to Dubai. They're not gonna see you. Even Africans that live there, they're not gonna see you as a black man in Dubai. They actually look at you as an American. Like, they don't really put that racial label. And honestly, I love that. I love that. They don't again, like they don't put you as like a black man living in America. They put you as an American, and that's it. Like I remember I was kind of hanging out with someone there actually, and they were saying that they were African American. There was actually a friend of mine who's from Zimbabwe. He kind of laughed at him. He was like, "What is this African American? You're just an American." And I was like trying to explain to him. I was like, "Look, man, like African Americans doesn't really exist, in other countries but America. Like we're the only place that really put that label on there."
Now, Sam, you're a young guy. How old are you?
24.
24 years old, yet you have been very successful career-wise. You're an entrepreneur. You can afford to travel wherever you want to travel. What do you attribute your success at such a young age to? Because, I mean, really, you're kicking butt in the business world for sure.
I grew up not only broke essentially, but seeing my mom as a single parent struggle. And then also with the notion as a black male, even with the little Latino descent, as a black male, you're only given an option A and you're given an option B, and you need to choose it. And that has always, even as a young kid, that has always baffled me. So I was like, so you're saying I only get an option A and an option B? Well, how about I'm gonna tell you fuck you, and I believe there's an option C. So I went with that option C, and since then I haven't really looked back at all. And I honestly try to motivate a lot of people to see that option C. I help out. I've helped so many people, and I am trying my best to help more people to see that there is an option C. Whether you're a person of color, whether you're a minority, there's always a third option, and that third option is potentially always the better option out of all of the other options.
Talk to me about the tech world, because that's your bread and butter. I know that you found your success in that world, and you are continuing just to stack an abundance of success and wealth and prosperity there. Why is the tech world something that, especially as young black folk, why is that the world that everyone needs to be paying attention to?
Things are changing big time. That's not really the reason why I got my IT degree, though. I got it because computers were just something I kind of shined at. But things are most definitely changing. As we see it right now. I believe COVID was always supposed to happen, whether it was the disease or whether it were to fast forward the world in a more technological advanced age by 10 years, honestly. And when that being said, there's a lot of jobs that are not going to be here. Um, so at that time, when I was in middle slash high school, I ended up looking at specific options in blockchain research or Bitcoin and Ethereum. Back then, it wasn't. It was really in its infant stage, and now it's starting to kind of crawl a little bit. You're starting to see Ethereum and Bitcoin even turn into these mass ecosystems of decentralized finance and a lot of other decentralized structures, and even now NFTs. Um, and with that being said, I believe we're going to see the phrase or notion destroyer of jobs, creator of better ones. Unfortunately, we may not see as many jobs in the future because of that. But I mean, hey, that is the future. We're gonna see more automation. We're gonna see more, a lot less coders. We're gonna see more DevOps. We might see even less help desk support, and we're gonna move more into developer type jobs. So I just believe that's what we're going to see more of. We're going to see more of a tech driven society to be able to solve a lot of the world's issues, as we start to see that certain jobs that are out there and even certain things that we had, that we still use even from 50 to 100 years ago worked, back in the 50s or back in the 70s, but it doesn't work anymore. We as a society need to change and adapt. Um, Now there are people that are trying to stop that, even people in the government and higher power, but or not trying to stop it. They know they can't stop it. It's inevitable, but they're trying to slow it down. And it's getting harder and harder every single year.
I got to ask you, Sam, is this Bitcoin stuff, is it safe? Is it safe for me to be investing my money in something like that?
Is it safe to invest in stocks? Is it, say everything will and always have had a risk to it, There's always been a risk to investing. But it's one of those, it's better to try and fail than to not try at all. I mean, I've seen success in this field, and honestly, it's not even about the money. When it comes to blockchain research and crypto, it's really about the tech and what the tech brings into this future life, or future advancements. With that being said, Bitcoin can hit zero, Ethereum can hit zero, but there will be so many, many more uses that it still brings into the world. It's not really the coin or whatever price it hits, it's the technology that it's bringing, and that's where I kind of find the value. Now, that kind of brings me into what I was going to say after that too. It's when it comes to Bitcoin and Ethereum and what it's bringing. I always tell this, or I always ask people this, right? How can Bitcoin and Ethereum be the best investment and to have occurred in history? Going from zero to $60,000 in a very, very short amount of time. How can it actually be the legitimate best investment to ever occur in history and nobody knows about it?
It's good information. Good information. Listen, Sam, you're a sharp guy. You're a guy that clearly is not limited into what you plan on accomplishing and what you actually do accomplish on a day-to-day basis, whether it's in the tech world from a business standpoint, or whether it's traveling to Dubai and meeting people from all over the world over there. It's really interesting to hear you speak. And there's a lot of freedom in what you say, which I think is the most important aspect of this conversation. People can believe they're free. People can claim they're free. But when you speak to somebody who truly is free, it's just different. And you know it right away. It's like when you walk down the street and you can smell fresh baked cookies. You know what fresh baked cookies smells like. You know what I mean? So a pile of fertilizer can say fresh baked cookies, but it's clearly a pile of fertilizer. And you can smell it. You can see it. It ain't what it is. But when you get the cookies, okay, all right, that's the real stuff. You're the real stuff, man. You're a free man. You're a free black man, and I appreciate you for it because it's inspirational. Why don't you let folks know if anybody wants to keep up with you? Because there may be some people who want to partner with you on some things or learn more or even just see photos and from your journeys and what have you. Is there anywhere where people can check you out online?
Oh yes, I have a personal Instagram. My goofy ass needs to work out on the name, and I will change it later, I promise. But I have a personal Instagram at the moment. It's called braided_duck, BRAIDED_duck, DUCK.
Okay. Well, Sam, before I let you go, I got to ask one last question, and this is a very important one here. What was the best dish, snack, whatever? What was the best food product that you had while you were in Dubai? What was it, and why was it so good?
Oh my God. So, this girl, this model I've been talking to that lives in Dubai, she took me to this sushi place, and you know how in the States, like caviar is like beyond expensive? Like
Yep.
they have like the caviar is dirt cheap in Dubai, and they serve this specific sushi dish with this like lemon boba tea. Oh my God. It was, the whole thing was like, it surprised me because in America that would have been like a $800 meal, but there it was like $10. And that sushi, I am a complete slut for. Oh my god, that shit was so good. I'm when I go back in February, I am going to get that same dish, if not more. And then there was this, and they're both on par. It was really hard for me to choose. I cannot remember what it was, but it was like a hummus, and they cooked their own like meat and they put it in the hummus. I typically hate hummus with a passion, but the hummus that they had there with the beef that was or the steak that was inside it, oh my god, it was just damn amazing. Like, man.
What a fascinating story there. Fascinating life story by Mr. Sam Johnson. Wow. And there's a lot to be said about travel, especially for black men, black American men in the modern day. We're told to be fearful of travel, because of the racism and what have you that we've experienced for so long. But yet, it's not the same around the world. There are a lot of distinctive differences. And I'm so glad that Sam shared that with us this week. And also just his story. So inspirational. And as young as he is, for Sam to be in the position that he's in, it's just incredible. Incredible stuff there. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, at Tell Us the Truth. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Tell Us the Truth. Of course, on all of your favorite podcast apps, Tell Us the Truth podcast there. I'm telling you right now, folks, this is just a small snapshot of some of the great conversation that we have on the Tell Us the Truth podcast. And definitely keep your eyes open on this YouTube page, because we will be sharing clips of previous and future episodes as well. But you got to go to the other sites if you want to hear the whole thing. And meanwhile, here on YouTube, once a month, we are going to share exclusive content that you won't hear anywhere else. So continue to listen to this space. Until next time, be kind to yourselves and be kind to others. This is E. Duke Bennett, and you've been listening to Tell Us the Truth.
Tell Us the Truth is produced in Boston in association with iHeartRadio and WBZ News Radio.